Most people assume aging is something they will notice, a visible change that arrives gradually over time. But biological aging often begins long before it becomes outwardly detectable. In fact, many people experience its earliest signals while still feeling relatively young. A persistent fatigue that doesn't fully resolve, recovery that feels slower than it once did, sleep that restores less than expected. These are rarely random changes. More often, they reflect subtle shifts in how efficiently the body repairs, regulates, and adapts. The challenge is that these signals are easy to normalize until their pattern becomes clear in hindsight. Understanding how to recognize them early is not about resisting age. It is about learning to read the language of your own biology. Here are 7 early signals that may suggest your body is aging faster than it should, and what they quietly reveal about what is happening beneath the surface. Persistent fatigue. Not ordinary tiredness, but a deeper exhaustion that rest does not fully restore. In some cases, a person in their late 30s or early 40s may begin waking unrefreshed despite sleeping a full 8 hours. Their schedule hasn't changed, their workload is manageable, yet their energy feels consistently reduced. At the cellular level, this often reflects gradual shifts in mitochondrial efficiency, the structures responsible for generating energy for nearly every biological process. When energy production becomes less efficient, the decline is subtle. There is no dramatic failure, just a quiet reduction in vitality. Fatigue is often the first biological whisper that something foundational is adjusting. And when energy availability changes, the body becomes more selective in how it allocates its resources, often prioritizing immediate survival over optimal repair. Which leads to the next signal. 2. Slower physical recovery. Muscle soreness lingers longer than it once did. Minor injuries require patience. The body restores itself, but more gradually. This reflects changes in cellular repair coordination. Regeneration remains possible, but less efficient. In youthful biology, recovery feels automatic. In aging biology, it becomes noticeable. Repair is one of the body's most revealing indicators of internal resilience. When restoration slows in muscle and tissue, similar patterns can appear in the brain. 3. Increasing brain fog. Moments of forgetfulness. Difficulty sustaining focus. Mental fatigue that seems disproportionate to the task at hand. Consider someone who once multitasked easily, but now finds themselves rereading simple information or struggling to recall familiar details. Nothing dramatic has occurred, just a subtle shift in clarity. The brain relies heavily on stable blood flow, metabolic balance, and efficient neural communication. As these systems recalibrate with age, cognitive sharpness can fluctuate. Brain fog is rarely alarming, but it is rarely random. And few systems influence mental clarity more profoundly than sleep, the body's primary restoration window. Declining sleep quality. Sleep is not passive rest. It is active biological repair. Hormones rebalance, cells regenerate, the brain clears metabolic waste. When sleep becomes fragmented or less restorative, recovery across multiple systems begins to weaken. Changes in circadian rhythm are strongly linked to biological aging, and when the body's internal clock shifts, renewal capacity often shifts with it. Over time, these internal adjustments can begin influencing how the body stores and manages energy. 5. Increasing visceral fat. Unlike fat stored beneath the skin, visceral fat surrounds internal organs and participates directly in metabolic signaling. It is closely associated with inflammation and declining metabolic flexibility. In some individuals, abdominal fat gradually increases despite no dramatic change in lifestyle habits. Calories remain similar. Activity remains consistent. Yet body composition shifts. The body is not simply storing energy, it is responding to a changing internal metabolic environment, and that environment may be becoming less adaptable. Adaptability is one of the defining traits of youthful biology. When it shifts internally, it often becomes visible externally. 6. Skin that heals. More slowly, the skin is often described as a mirror of internal health. Small cuts, bruises, or irritations may take longer to fade. Collagen production gradually declines. Cellular turnover slows. In some cases, individuals notice that minor skin injuries linger longer than expected. Not dramatically, but consistently. External repair frequently reflects deeper biological rhythms unfolding beneath the surface. By now, a pattern may be forming. Each signal reflects the same underlying theme: how efficiently the body restores equilibrium after disruption, which brings us to one of the most revealing shifts of all. 7. Reduced stress resilience. Resilience is not the absence of stress. It is the ability to return to balance afterward. This capacity depends on nervous system regulation and hormonal coordination. Consider someone who once handled demanding situations with ease, but now feels physically drained long after the situation has passed. Recovery takes longer. Sleep feels lighter. Energy remains suppressed. This shift is subtle until it becomes persistent. And in many ways, stress resilience reflects the broader biological flexibility of the body. When adaptability weakens, aging accelerates quietly. Aging rarely begins with a single dramatic event. It unfolds through patterns, gradual shifts in energy, recovery, clarity, sleep, metabolism, regeneration, and resilience. None of these signals are cause for alarm in isolation, but together they offer something powerful: awareness. Because when you understand how your body is changing, you gain the rare ability to respond intentionally, rather than react too late. Biology is always communicating. Learning to recognize its language may be one of the most valuable forms of long-term self-understanding. Subscribe to Vera Human and continue understanding the biology shaping your future.